Well, good morning. We are on our way to Grand Rapids, Michigan today to look at a commercial building that was built by and used by DK Homes, a custom home builder in Byron Center, Michigan. It was bought last year through our dealer, Central Michigan Roofing, but DK Homes had taken the time prior to really lay out a design that was just perfect for the K building frame. Takes full advantage of the 16-foot sidewall that's in this building and the vaulted ceiling. The building itself is a 70 by 105 by 16, and it also has a 16 or 18 foot wide by 60 foot lean-to. That's all part of the building structure itself. But what really makes sense with this building design is the purpose of part of the building is to be the corporate offices of DK Homes. And so the whole front part of this building is a two-story office complex. And so I'm anxious to see how that's all finished on the inside, because more and more K buildings are being used for houses or barn dominiums. People that are taking what used to be a farm type structure and turning it into finished living space, which makes a lot of sense. But the common misconception to that with people is that it can be done a lot cheaper. Well, at the end of the day, I don't know that I necessarily agree with that. But what it does do is it gives you a big wide open space that's free of any limitations like roof loads that are coming down in living space, bearing walls, or anything like that. So you really do have the freedom to do whatever you want with the living space, and that's exactly what they did. In the back half, they also took advantage in several instances on overhead doors to work within the on-center bay spacing of the K building itself. The natural spacing of the frames is 15 foot, and so I know there are several doors that are 12 foot wide, 14 foot tall that they put in that are overhead doors into the sidewall. And that just makes perfect sense because it doesn't require any expensive headers to open up any large spaces, and it gives you an opportunity to frame these door openings in just by simply framing it in with solid sawn lumber. There's no roof loads coming down, no wall loads to worry about. It really simplifies that. So it's those kind of things that people do with the K building that not only adds functionality to the building, but also saves a lot of cost in not requiring any large sidewall door headers or anything like that. So I'm pretty excited about it. This building was also built by DK Homes, who had never built a K building before. Now, granted, they've got a lot of construction experience. They know what they're doing, and this project really wasn't that difficult for them, but it is different than what they typically do. They are a custom home builder. So I'm anxious. This thing's been on my radar since day one. They've been in this building now for a period of time, and we're heading up there to take a look at it today, to talk to the building owner again, see what they've done with it, see how they're using it. So we want to bring you along with us. We're glad you're here. Stick with us. Let's head to Grand Rapids, Michigan and check it out together.
The destination is on your right. Arrived.
Everything lined up. It was crazy. If something was off, it was because the foundation might have been a quarter-inch higher over here, and we could tell it when we were putting the steel up. It was that accurate. And when they bolted it together, it was just profound. They looked across the top of the trusses, down the ridge line, everything. It was straight on. So it was easier to build than a pole barn. Our framing crew, which remodels homes and frames homes, built the building.
Okay.
Yeah, and our trim crew trimmed it, and then our subs did all their normal work inside.
I think you guys made fairly quick work of getting all the frames and all that put together.
It was bigger than I thought, but there was only a 3-man crew for the most part. And they set this whole thing. They had some summer help. Well, we started on the building in June or July, and we moved in December 14. So 6 months from the foundation up.
Yep.
So once you had your piers in place and your steel bolted down, from that point on, it was just like building a pole barn, only straighter. We got to the roof and they squared it to see how square it was. And it was within a 1/4 inch on 105 feet, so. Yeah.
Can't beat that.
Yeah, it's hard to do that with a pole barn. Yeah. So you're just working with something that goes up so square and straight right away. We were impressed at how the bolts, they just lined up everywhere. It was crazy. It was crazy how accurate it was. Just simple spaces, we went with what we have. Didn't even cover the beams here, just painted them up. We've got a bathroom, a couple offices, and over there behind the double doors to your right, we have a room for inventory that we can load from the shop.
And so this room is just,
We did Christmas up there.
did you?
It was logical space to develop, so we did it. And
You can't beat just an open space like this for whatever it is you made.
I built it for an investment, and this will be a good use.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I do like the white frames up there.
We didn't want to hide them. We didn't want to make boxes around them. And just painting them white to blend into the ceiling, there's still structure there, it's fun, the texture there, but they don't stand out, you know? Yeah, so behind them double doors, we can actually stock that from outside with a high-low. First two bays are used by our excavating group. Separate company connected to us. And then the next two bays is our project bay for Ben and I. This is where we rebuilt a pontoon in there this winter, park our toys and work on them.
Tell me again about the insulation and stuff that you put in here. I want to make sure that...
Well, the ceiling is a closed cell foam, so I don't even know what the ratings are, but I think open cell is like 5 for every inch. I think closed cell is double that. We never put a heater in here last year, and every piece of equipment during the winter thawed out, I think because of geothermal coming out of the ground. So it's a big enough area that it can't get cold under it everywhere.
Yeah. Never turn the furnace on.
There is not even one plumbed in yet, so.
So were you already aware of the K at that point and like the...
I actually saw it online, and that's when Emmanuel had reached out.
Yeah, he's a wonderful guy. He does good work, and he is as honest as the day is long.
Yeah, no, it's worked out well. Real well. We function the same way, so a handshake works.
Yep,
So,
boy,
yeah.
isn't that nice when you can do that?
Yeah. So yeah, it went well. Emmanuel did a great job providing steel and links. We didn't cut nothing except for gables.
And Emmanuel is Central Michigan Roofing. He's our dealer up there, and so now not only did he sell you the building, but what are you doing with him now?
Well, we now buy all of our standing seam through them or metal. We just realized that it's a much heavier metal than you get in some other areas. So we could walk this roof and never even think about denting it. It was impressive. When they responded back, that we priced it out against a pole barn. Just thought, man, we could probably do more with less. So that's how we went this route. I mean, it was cheaper than building a pole barn. At the time I started the bid process, it was 30, 40 grand less. So when they got done putting all the ceiling bracing in, then they went back and checked it for square on the roof. And they were within a 1/4 inch of square. So yeah, on a building like this, you could be an inch off, no one would see it, you know. So they were grinning. So this is in the process of being set up right now. We had bought out a wood shop 6, 7 years ago, nothing big. It's an inventory place to all of our hand tools and screws and different things that we use on job sites. Just get stored in here. So yeah, and it also serves as a wood shop when we need it.
So you'd mentioned one thing out of the tour that we've had. You've mentioned one thing that you'd like to change, and that's the header height of one of your back doors. But
here I needed to be lower. The shop is lower. Right over there, I didn't need to be lower. And I don't know why I thought it, but I thought, well, we don't need a tall door back there. If you got 14-foot walls or 16-foot walls, put in 14-foot doors. That's my rule.
Yeah, for sure. So that'll be one thing you change. Is there anything else you would change?
No, I love coming into it. I mean, I'm 62 years old and I'm building a new building. I'm like, this is ridiculous, but I'm supposed to be slowing down. But I think I'm going to keep going for a while yet, so we'll see. Yeah.
Well, you've done an outstanding job here. You really have. As I mentioned earlier, from the very time that this became an order, this has been a building I've been wanting to get up to.
Okay.
Yeah. Knowing that you were building it on your own was very interesting. There's more and more people are doing that with the K. But when you're talking about your first K you're putting together, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it being a 70 wide building, 16 foot tall, lean-to.
That pushed the envelope a bit. But building is logical. If you understand building, you understand building, and it's just logical. Think structural, and it'll go together. What I think the point that made it so easy is everything lined up. It was crazy. If something was off, it was because the foundation might have been a 1/4 inch higher over here, and we could tell it when we were putting the steel up. It was that accurate. Yeah, it was profound how accurate it was. And when they bolted it together, it was just profound. They looked across the top of the trusses, down the ridge line, everything. It was straight on. So it was easier to build than a pole barn.
So if you were talking directly to somebody who is thinking about a K building, what advice might you give them?
I would do a full foundation all the way around, not piers. It's just easier to work with. We did piers over there. When I got to this lean-to, before we started building it, I said, this is how it's going to go. I'm going to pour a wall. This is going to be normal. It was just easier to tie everything together, not be building skirt boards to hold the concrete in. So I would pour a full foundation.
Well, Jay, I want to thank you very much. It was a pleasure to finally meet you. We've talked several times on the phone. And yeah, it's just my pleasure to get up here, and I thank you very much for letting us come into your space, video bits and pieces of this, and then share this online, which is exactly what we're going to do. Okay, well, there we go. You know, I liked that building, and I liked what he did with that building, with that finished area with the offices. One of the nice things about a K with that wood secondary is you don't always have to go to K for all the parts and pieces that you need. Sometimes you can just go ahead and frame up your own areas like they did with the offices and the second story and that big area up top that they had. It just is a convenient building to work with, and it's nice that you don't always have to go back to K for that widget to make something work. Now, the one thing that I would recommend is that partition wall that he had in that in the work area in the back, he did with aluminum studs. There is a divider wall available for K, and that is nice because that will bolt right to the main frame that has clips on the verticals there that will have lumber in it So it just makes for a nice solid wall right there without having to do anything. And the reason I like that is because sometimes the heights in those areas get so large that it's tough to do that with dimension lumber and some of that stuff. What he did was great, but not everybody I don't know is comfortable working with steel studs like that. But anyhow, guys, I hope you liked it. Beautiful town up here in Byron Center, Michigan, suburb of Grand Rapids. We're not far from Lake Michigan. They do get a fair amount of snow here, so what a beautiful area this is. So thank you for coming along with us today. Love having you, and until we see you again, take care of yourselves.